Looks like he appears to be covering something up in the road.
He's on the east side of the road.
Gotcha.
There are 22 suicides a day by our military and veterans right now. So I do want all the viewers to understand that PTSD does not make violence worse. I know people personally who have PTSD.
Our veterans,
Veterans,
the Army or military.
Man, fuck you. Like, I'm perfectly capable of living in a cardboard box.
I hail from Freedom Hill on my feet. I stand in what used to be felines and Reeboks. Damn, I would.
Welcome to the EAS Show. Interviews, stories, and perspectives on war and life in and out of the military. Straight from the bastards crazy enough to do America's dirty work.
Oh, goodness. Welcome to the EAS Show, the long-awaited episode 3 of the EAS Show. I am your host, Dan Willis, and joining me as usual, our co-host,
Vinny Cataldo.
Vinny Cataldo. What's going on, brother?
Hi, nothing much.
Nothing much. Just I see some notebooks.
Oh, you know.
Been doing a little studying.
It's all porn.
It's just notebooks full of porn. Why not? Anyway, yeah. So this is a little bit different. We're doing a live show, a live recording of the EAS show, and we've decided to go with this format for a couple of reasons. Firstly, while the narrative versions of the EAS show were fun, they also took a solid 70 hours to produce. Which is an insane workload, just not really worth it. And plus, we didn't really get to remain topical. We couldn't get them out fast enough to kind of stay up on current events and things going on in the world. So we decided to kind of merge one of my old projects, the Brain Bus, which was a live show, with the EAS show. And now you have the live EAS show. How excited are you, Mr. Cataldo?
Could not be more excited.
Hopefully our listeners and we've added video, so our listeners and viewers will feel the same way. Very excited.
Finally, they get to see what we look like.
Those poor bastards.
Yeah.
Nobody on the internet gives a shit about what we look like. You know? Yeah. Actually, with listeners and viewers in mind, here is one thing I want to actually really implore of listeners. Get in touch with the show. We absolutely want to hear from you. One of the things that we did a lot with the Brain Bus was we engaged with listeners. You email your questions. If you have a guest that you think would be interesting for us to interview, we have the ability to do dedicated interview channels for Skype and telephone calls now, so we can just call them up and get studio quality recording from guests all over the world. As long as they have a phone or an internet connection, we can hook up with them. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear your ideas for the shows, topics you'd like to see covered, stuff like that. So send us your emails at rtbmag@gmail.com. That's rtbmag@gmail.com. Additionally, you can follow us all over social media. The handle is at rtbmag. That's ubiquitous across all platforms. So like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, although I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything with the Instagram account. I'm going to put pictures up of myself. Just working on the website. I don't know. We'll figure some kind of artwork or something to put up on the Instagram account. But follow us all over social media. You can shout us out on there. We'll get in touch with you however you want to do it. But yeah, we absolutely want to hear, like I said, questions, people to interview. If you want advice on like whether or not you should stay in the military, we have an email. We have a question from a guest at the bottom of the show. Got an email. He wants some advice from Cataldo and I, two guys that are out. So look, we'll do all kinds of stuff to get involved with our listeners. Just shout us out, hit us up. Quick with you, Vinny. Things going well?
Yeah, things are going well.
School keeping you busy?
Very busy, nonstop busy. Kids and wife.
Yeah. Having a family, having kids, going to college. That's enough. That's enough to keep your world spinning pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's a full plate for sure.
And you and I happen to both be in that.
Happy Hanukkah.
Mazel. Anyway, let's just roll. Let's talk about what we're gonna cover this week's show and move right into it. Like I said, we're really pumped. So the live format is kind of like my thing. I like doing live shows. I think they're more entertaining and a little bit more spontaneous. Like, yeah, we've got show notes, but I'm not reading from a script. Neither are you. So we're just kind of rolling with this. But look, unless you listeners, America, unless you've been living under a rock, shit's been pretty crazy since November, let's say. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, I'd almost venture to say, and maybe I'd like your thoughts on this, Vinny, but I'd almost venture to say it's to the point where like Western society and what democratic politics mean to us as a people, like those things, fundamental questions are being asked and maybe put on the table that otherwise haven't been on the table for a really long time.
Like what? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, just look how rancorous the environment in D.C.'s been. You know, everyone's basically calling the Trump administration a fascist regime, and they're already out there, you know, banging their pots and pans and wearing their vagina hats, whatever, writing their articles. Yeah, they're fucking saying this. Hey, they're fascists. You know, this is the end of democracy. I think Der Spiegel ran a cover. I'll try to find the artwork for the video, but they ran a cover on one of their recent magazines of a Trump caricature cutting off the head of the Statue of Liberty. You know, like obviously really incendiary, has some terrorist kind of insinuations there, like doing a beheading. It's obviously Trump is saying, oh, he's killing democracy. I mean, that's the mood, that's the tone we're in. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he elected?
In a fair and free election?
I mean,
so I've been told.
You necessarily get who you voted for.
That's kind of how it works out.
Yeah.
No, haven't you heard? Russia hijacked it and won it for him. So, anyway, I mean, we say all this to say that hey, there's a lot going on right now, and additionally, there's a lot of veterans that are now moving away from other business models and turning to media to kind of speak to the veteran community as a whole, and in some instances speak for them. And I don't think rtbmag.com, I don't think our site, our project is an attempt to speak for veterans as a whole, but it is an attempt to reach maybe some veterans that haven't been getting spoken to by the players that are in the media space right now. So that's what we kind of want to do with this show and with the site in general. I think that, I don't know, is that too lofty a goal?
No, it seems
I think
doable.
Yeah, I think it's doable, and I think the veteran space needs another voice. Some more voices.
Yeah, another voice a voice that isn't chest beating.
Yeah, and we'll get in. We've got some examples of some chest beating that went down recently. I may or may not have published something that was kind of flew in the face of a veteran-owned company recently, which some people may have gotten pissed about that. You know, that comes with the territory. We're not afraid of. We're not going to write anything we can't justify writing. We're not going to publish anything there's a reason, and we're not just out there bashing people. There's a rhyme to our reason, or whatever. Well, let's get into let's talk about some headlines real quick. We'll here's how it'll work. We'll run over the headlines. This will be our quick hits, and then we'll roll into a more thorough discussion that Vinny and I that have been on our minds for a while that we kind of want to share with you guys, with the rest of the world. So let's talk about some big headlines. First of all, we're Afghan vets, so this really resonated with us. The head of U.S. forces in Afghanistan is calling for more troops to break what he is calling a, quote, stalemate in Afghanistan. General John Nicholson Jr. from the Army. Plussing up forces in Afghanistan? I thought the war was coming to an end.
I thought the war was unwinnable.
So on that, I'm glad you mentioned that, because he was asked publicly, what did we win or lose in Afghanistan or something along those lines? He said, oh, we're in a stalemate.
Stalemate is the end of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was define victory?
Right.
What were we?
You shake hands and you walk away from the board. You know. That's
Right. You leave.
Right. It's over.
So we have the commander of Afghan forces for the United States, and talking like it's not over. Not only is it not over, we want to send more people. I don't think it's been approved. And he did say it doesn't necessarily have to be U.S. forces. It can be coalition forces. But hey, in either case, whatever the method they end up using to plus up people on the ground in Afghanistan, you're putting more lives in danger.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, American, Afghan, whoever, everybody's in danger for what? They don't want us there. We don't want to be there.
We don't want to be there. And we're going to roll in. We're going to expand on this discussion a little bit more because, what we're doing in Afghanistan is important because it's costing a lot of money in a very corrupt nation and people are fucking dying still. And while we're over here arguing about whether or not, an executive order rises up to a Muslim ban, we're still fucking killing Muslims.
Right.
And we have been for 20 years at least.
Yeah.
So I don't think the conversation's super honest, and we'll get into it a little bit later. Roll into President Donald Trump's immigration ban is facing heat. On Monday, it was in the the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. There was a federal court that issued some kind of stay or some kind of legal action against the executive order that went through the Court of Appeals, and basically they upheld that the executive order is somehow unlawful. I didn't actually read the decisions from the courts of what was said, but I wanted to get I didn't vote for either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump this past election, and kind of my politics went through the ringer over the past couple of years anyway. Add to that a crazy election season, but I think as you as a pretty vocal Trump supporter, I mean the travel ban, like where do you stand on this now? And I guess where does this ban stand?
It wasn't. I mean,
I don't mean to put you on the spot there. I guess that's an unfair question.
If it's never a ban, it was a pause, as new things were implemented to properly vet these people coming in, it was never an outright ban like that. It's a Muslim ban, isn't something like 87% of all.
That's how they ran every article, every website, every news story is a Muslim majority country, like it was ubiquitous. It was crazy.
Right, and it's completely not true. Like there's tons of other Muslim countries that have free access to America, same as they ever did.
India, Indonesia.
Yeah.
The list goes on. Yeah, there's a lot.
7 countries were, hand selected, not even by Trump, but by the Obama administration as trouble spots, around the world, and I don't have a problem with it. Like in terms of we need to figure out who these people are before we let them into the country. What's wrong with that? Everybody's had to. Yeah, and
it's the public, the backlash. Here's the way it looks to me: is the media keeps calling this a Muslim ban. That gins up a lot of public support to well, fuck this guy if he's being a bigot, right? Because we're anti-racist, anti-bigot, at least in word, if not in deed. It rallies the support to kind of go out and push back against this, but if it's all basically wrapped in a misunderstanding or kind of a slanted angle or a slanted bend from the media, then it's all for naught anyway. And I guess I just don't think that the conversation that most Americans are having regarding this executive order is honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask somebody who is staunchly opposed to the immigration ban, do you have a problem with people being, determining if the people are who they say they are, if these people are, a fit for the country, whatever it is, is that an issue that that we ask a few more questions, why are they going to say no? There's no reason to not investigate somebody, it's not racist to say, prove it, who are you?
Yeah. Well, it is if they're Muslim, evidently.
More than, a fucking guy knocks on your window and says, "I'm a cop," step out of the car. He's not wearing a uniform. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nothing to ask another question. Show me a badge or something. It's not. I don't.
Right, you're well within your right to be like, well, I need to see some proof.
Right, the hysterics. Like it's not about them being Muslim. He's not banning people because they're Muslims. There's no mention of the word Muslim on the order.
But the optics, the hysterics, the media runs with it, and plus, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for anyone in Trump's cabinet because he's surrounded himself by some really, if at the very least, optically strange people. Sean Spicer is about my favorite person to watch videos of because that guy's just a fucking buffoon. But I mean, at the same time, I think that just because these guys are almost impossible to like doesn't mean that they're being these insidious, awful despots that are fascists, and that a lot of people that are yelling that are fascists are basically saying, well, go out and break the law and let's usurp this motherfucker. That's pretty fascist in and of itself. Well, and I'm sure this isn't the last time we're going to talk about Donald Trump on this show. I promise you that. So we'll move on. According to the LA Times, children and civilian deaths are on the rise in Afghanistan. And this came from a UN report that was released last week. For 2016, 923 children were killed in Afghanistan, which is a 25% increase over 2015. 2,589 kids were injured in 2016, representing a 23% run rate or growth rate over last year. And there's obviously been a lot of backlash over the conflict in Afghanistan on the heels of this report. In the UN, interestingly enough, the last note I'll pull from that is they attributed 60% of the deaths and injuries to Taliban, 24% to the government in Afghanistan, and the rest to other insurgent groups, quote unquote. So regardless of where it's coming from, it's clear that it's not just the Taliban. And I'll bet that 60% number is inflated. I don't know how they're proving that or how they're building the math around that. But what is definitely without a doubt, even the good guys kill lots of civilians too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's 50-50, but apparently it's on the rise. And sending more troops to Afghanistan is not going to do anything to reduce that. I mean, it's funny, if you put a ton of them, like if you occupy Afghanistan, yeah, the Taliban will chill out because they don't want to just die. They're not going to win toe to toe. But that's your dilemma. You either take this country over and annex it, or you leave it the fuck alone. Because anything in between is just going to be blood loss and dollars that you're setting on fire.
Right. All these people are going to get caught in the middle of the fight, and they're going to get killed, or you're going to pull out and they're just going to fucking swarm back in and, make up for lost time.
Yep. Which is exactly what we saw happen on your second deployment, my first deployment to Mars. It's exactly what we saw for 7 months.
Yeah.
They were on kind of just the sideline for the most part, waiting for us to leave, and they were just going to fucking waltz in and just take the place back.
They're running the clock down, and why wouldn't they? They're not going to fucking, 4 guys with an AK,
Brilliant.
Yeah, what? They're not gonna win against us.
No, they don't have the equipment or the people.
That's how they win. They win on time.
Exactly. They can always wait us out.
Yeah,
but
unless we're gonna be a permanent occupying force in Afghanistan, we can't.
Which that's not something that was ever supposed to be the end game here.
Right.
That is not the goal.
Right. A&A were supposed to step up and fucking run their country,
and the A&A are getting slaughtered. They're getting, everyone, Marines especially, we love to fucking talk shit about the A&A. And really, I don't think a whole lot of people who know our story or know a lot of our stories would argue. Like, there was some shitty A&A, and actually one of them ended up killing one of our best friends. So like, we get that the A&A were shit, especially relative to us or to U.S. forces or to any other coalition forces. They're just not us. They're not geared out that way. They're not educated like we are. They're not physically fit like they are below the bar. But nonetheless, they are people that are, at least most of them are signing up to put their balls out there on the chopping block in defense of some kind of, or maybe just to make money, to get their paycheck, but whatever. They're getting left out, hung out to dry by the government and the upper echelon command that we installed, and they're getting picked apart.
Yeah.
So it's no one's winning anything here.
Yeah, they're not ready for the fight, and they were never good. Like,
right.
They're garbage.
Despite how much, the storyline about, the transition's going well. We're handing over all these operations. We're training them up. We're gearing them up. Everything. The handover is smooth. Like, it's all bullshit. It was all a storyline. None of it was real.
Yeah, I remember my second deployment, like walking around and seeing these old fucking A&A outposts that are now, empty or
Taliban.
Spots, right. Or spots you don't want to go around because now it's a fortified Taliban position.
All the while, you've got the CEO of one of the companies we were ripping with out there going, man, what you guys did here the first time really made a difference. Like,
yeah.
Just because it's not the wild, wild west right now doesn't mean the moment we leave that this is still going to remain in civilian control. Like, anyway, more great news out of Afghanistan. An active duty, I believe, captain in the Marine Corps wrote a scathing letter condemning the top brass, the leadership in the Marine Corps. I think in the Pentagon, DC area, especially. And from our experiences, I have to echo maybe not everything what he says, but we definitely saw things get increasingly political from 2012 on to when I finally got out in 2015. Things were coming from Washington, from the Pentagon to the squad really fucking quickly.
Yeah.
And things changed. He's basically saying that in this letter, which you should read on the Marine Corps Gazette, is who ran it, I believe, last week. This is a great quote. I'm sorry. I gotta make sure I read this right. Oh, he was asking, so quote, why then is there such a divide between the organizational energy and innovative agility of our Marines and the depressive stagnation found within the supporting establishment? I believe I know a big part of the answer. Self-delusion. End quote. So he's basically saying all these leaders want to use buzzwords like innovative and forward-looking and just being a big picture thinker, all this bullshit, but they don't have any infrastructure to support that. They don't have the pipes or the framework that it isn't the words that are the magic in that situation. It's the action. It's the deed of actually being innovative and being forward-looking and, No, it's much easier just to type it up in an email or a memo or a MAR admin and fire it off and call that leadership. But it was a ballsy piece. I encourage all you guys out there to go check it out, especially if you've been less than happy with a lot of the command climates out there over the past few years. Not saying I am or was. Maybe I was. I was pretty unhappy. Lastly, Veterans Stand is a nonprofit organization, veterans-stand.org. They are the mobilizing force that organized 2,000 veterans to show up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota? Pretty sure it's South Dakota. To protest the Dakota Access Pipeline back in December, and actually got, I think there was supposed to be a deadline. They're supposed to be off the property by December 5th. They obviously didn't leave, and some kind of easement or something got denied because of their presence. Now, of course, President Obama said, "Oh, we'll make sure they'll do an environmental review before we restart construction," and then Trump came in and said, "Nope, start building right now." So these guys are showing back up. They're there. They've got between now and February 22nd to vacate the premises, which they are planning on not doing. They've raised $180,000 on via crowdfunding to support and supply all the veterans there. Several thousand, according to one of the guys we have on the inside. But we're talking to somebody. We're kind of gonna. I'd like to follow and see what happens here. I don't know. According to the Veteran Stand folks, the Treaty of Laramie from 1851 granted these Sioux tribes rights to this land that the United States government has essentially, just wadded up and thrown away and said, "Nah, fuck off." Now, I don't know anything about how the law treats treaties from 150 years. I don't know the chain of events from that treaty to now, but they are convicted enough that they have. I don't know, enough of a justification to arrange for financing, you know, upwards of 150 grand to keep them there. I think it's pretty crazy. And it's not getting a lot of coverage. Have you seen anything about this? No,
I haven't seen anything.
Any of the major outlets?
No.
They're too busy running around pretending DC's on fire.
Oh, the country's on fire.
Yeah, as I said. Top of the show. Well, let's get into our talk for tonight. What are we running? We're running 25 minutes. This is good. This is solid. We might come in under an hour.
All
right. Let's do this. So, Vinny, you know, we've seen it. We saw. When's the first time we saw like a Matt Best video, like an Article 15 video, or you know, one of those T-shirts, like, you know, fuck bitches, shoot guns, or some shit.
When's the first time?
Yeah, when's the first time you ran into that kind of apparel or message?
2 years ago.
Was it at Lejeune?
I'm not sure if I was aware of where it was coming from, but I'm not sure which came first, like the attitude, you know, like the sayings or the marketed sayings, you know, I'm not sure. But I
feel like the it grew out of the videos that Matt Best started making early, is the attitude, and then they started merchandising around the popularity of like basically being, you know, the quintessential operator all the time.
Yeah.
And being like, you know, fuck the world, we're grunts, or we're whatever, like
we're death dealing sex machines.
Yeah, you know, and so you had these other companies crop up out of it. You had Ranger Up, which is from a former captain in the Army, I think Nick Palmachano, crazy last name, hard to pronounce. You've had a bunch of brands pop up. You've got the Donnie O'Malley Project, which we talked to Donnie, which I'm excited about. I actually think they're going to foster some writing talent out there in California. But you've seen a lot of veteran brands kind of focus on one really narrow mindset of what it is, like, and most of it's comedy, but some of it's political. Like Ranger Up is routinely political. Black Rifle Coffee, routinely political, and that leads us to what Evan Hafer, who is the founder and CEO of Black Rifle, did a couple weeks ago. He put out this tweet in response to Starbucks announcing they were going to hire 10,000 refugees, which was political. Fuck Starbucks for that. You know, that's clickbait. You know, that's attention grabbing. All you're doing is putting out a popular headline to sell more fucking coffee. But Hafer responds in kind by saying he's going to hire 10,000 veterans. Oh, you know, that's a lot of employees for any business. So me being the dickhead that I am, I went and kind of ran some of the math in a piece we ran on the website last week. And look, he needs $200 million to do what the things he said he's going to do at the very least. And what he probably has today, you know, if he has 10% of that, I'd be shocked. Yeah. But the response we got was from some veterans was, you know, fuck you. This guy's a veteran. Why aren't you supporting? You're a veteran. Why aren't you supporting his shit?
So why aren't you?
Well, and the answer is, let's get just because we're both veterans, like that doesn't mean I have to consume whatever fucking trinket this guy wants to slap a picture of an AK-47 on and tell me it's, you know, buy grunts for grunts, or, you know, whatever. Like, that's marketing. And okay, cool, I get it. You're hitting an audience there. I don't have to fucking like that. And also, you don't speak for me as a veteran.
Right.
You know, that you want to engage in a publicity stunt with Starbucks and kind of, you know, sharpen up your elbows to sell some more of your stuff, fine. You know, that doesn't mean I gotta buy this line that you keep telling me it's not a publicity stunt. No, this is real. We're gonna do this. Like, okay, really? Because when I look at the math, it looks pretty fucking impossible. And why now? Why all of a sudden? You know, and it's all about Trump voters, and Trump voters don't have a coffee choice. Like, okay, why do I got to drink my politics?
Yeah, I had a cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee this morning. I don't know what the
you motherfucker. You're what's wrong with this country, Doc.
Are we boycotting
piece of shit?
Shit.
That means you voted for Nader.
Goddamn. Well,
I mean, how ridiculous! Like, how full of ourselves do we have to be as veterans? Like, You're not buying my coffee because you have different political opinions than I do and you don't want to drink them?
Yeah.
Why is that not okay?
Yeah, it's getting to the point where, like, I go to fucking, I go to the store and I have to pick up each brand and Google whether or not.
Do I agree with the political stance of, this?
I gotta buy diapers. Loves Huggies. Let me fucking search which one political side they fall on.
We are taking this to lengths that we shouldn't be.
Yeah,
it's getting a little ridiculous.
It's exhausting. Like, like who am I mad at? Like, I'm so angry. Point me to who I'm supposed to be mad at.
And isn't it inherently veteran? Like, we talk about, being the brotherhood after we get out, how it never dies. We're always a part of this fraternity. Isn't like half of what you do when you're in, like, busting the balls of other, like, hey, shake the fuck up, asshole, or you're gonna get somebody killed. Why does all of the critical thinking go away after you get out, after you're no longer active, and it's just everyone's just sucking everyone else's dick because we're all veterans? Like, is police your own, or maybe like, hey, let's not be consummate chest beaters just to sell stuff for a brand?
Yeah, you're right. We've lost the ability to call bullshit. Like, I'm gonna go to the driftwood and fuck 3 bitches today. Like,
hey, you shouldn't do that. It's 11 a.m.
Oh, I got time.
It's like, you can't tell me what to do. We're both veterans.
Yeah, hey. Right, but meanwhile, he's telling you what to do.
Yeah. All right, man.
Why
whatever.
aren't you supporting my website, motherfucker? Like, I'm a veteran.
Yeah, why can't we? Like, I guess the question is, why can't we criticize these brands? Like, they speak for a portion of the community.
Right.
And it's not that like that liberal versions of these messages don't exist because there aren't liberals or people with progressive politics in the military. It's because they don't fucking wear their politics.
Yeah, they'll get fucking stepped on.
And how many people would show up with like a grunt style shirt at the barracks? Like, what happens to that guy?
Yeah.
Come to the barracks with a grunt style shirt on. That's a guaranteed way. First of all, you're not going home with that shirt. That's going to get ripped off and set on fire.
Yeah.
And, you're probably going to get jumped. Like, people don't wear that shit when you're in. Like, why does it suddenly become like badass to wear it when you're out?
Yeah. It's just a big fucking douchebag flag
to me. we are going to make so many friends with this show, man. Oh, I love it. I mean, this is what I want, though. I want the honest, genuine conversation. I think this is what a lot of veterans want. They're not getting this. And when they say they want it on social media, they get attacked. Like, oh, you get with the program, faggot.
I was picking up my kids from school the other day, and like, before they get out, everybody stands around. All the parents stand around, and we wait for the doors to open. There's this fucking guy wearing a hat, American flag hat, big fucking American flag. He was just fucking tacticaled out. Just standing there waiting for his fucking daughter to get to school. Like, like military cargo pants, boots.
5'11" pants.
Everything was 5'11", fucking Molly on his everywhere, but like, what are you doing, man? Like,
was it
off after this? On a break after this?
Are you getting on a plane to Iraq like in 20 minutes?
I just fast roped in.
Yeah, it's all these blowhards that want to be so badly in that club, and it's like, first of all, that club isn't as glamorous as you think it is, and secondly, it's fucking retarded. You look ridiculous.
All you have to do is not be in the club.
Yeah, that's a good point. It resonated with me that we're not willing as veterans to look introspective, that maybe some of the issues we face as a community are not just a byproduct of this toxic society we live in, that, hey, maybe some of the issues that we face as a community require some personal fucking responsibility. And that creating these echo chambers that, okay, even though, yeah, it's a t-shirt, it's a cup of coffee, like, what's the big deal, Dan? All right, I get that. But it starts as just a t-shirt and a cup of coffee, but you're reinforcing this idea, this image of yourself that's false. It isn't real. Yeah. Like, as much as you want to believe it, that maybe that's 10% of who you are as a human being. But I don't think you should hang your entire identity on these companies that are only pandering to you so they can fucking live the lifestyle they want to live, which, hey, that's capitalism. You know, that's what you do. Find a niche, market it, take your margin, retire. But, you know, that doesn't mean that that your effort, that just going through that makes you virtuous. You know, you can do that selling, you know, I can sell crack to babies. Like, just because my product moves doesn't mean it's good. Anyway, I mean, I'm sure this isn't the first time. We exist basically because all these brands exist.
Yeah.
I mean, a year ago, we were all talking about, man, I wish there was a fucking voice out there, a website out there, a media brand out there that was not just all about, you know, yeah, we're veterans all the time. I'll kill all of you. Fuck your finals. You know, we had Mackler on the first show. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. We're human beings. You know, we're people. We're not these crazed machine animal. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we mentioned at least 2 or 3 less than positive stories about Afghanistan, which maybe tipped our hand a little bit. I want to get into these comments from General Nicholson. Why the fuck are we going back? Like, why are we talking about plussing up our forces in Afghanistan?
My second deployment, as I understood it, we were fucking D-mail. That's what we were there for.
That was the mission. In fact, that was so much the mission that, you know, our posts were taken down before we even left. We were standing post in Matt V's.
Yeah.
Because we had already torn the shit down and demoed it.
Yeah, these giant fucking bases on my first deployment were nothing. My second, you know, like everything was pulled back. Everything was, you know, give it back to the Afghans. Like, we were never there, you know.
But according to this General Nicholson, no, we're in a stalemate. We haven't lost shit, and yeah, you're going back, bitch. Or maybe you're going back for your first time, or going there for your first time. I don't know. I just, of course, the mission. The mission, they're saying, is training and advising, which is the worst euphemism. It's the most transparent euphemism on the face of the planet. You know, that just means it's either mostly SF, still just pulling the trigger, they're hooking and jabbing, and we're also doing it with local forces, with YANA.
You can train a fucking 18-year-old kid to go to war in what, 6 months? You know, I mean,
yeah,
we've been there what, 15 years,
right?
You know, like, they haven't been able to.
Those motherfuckers either know how to fight or don't want to fight.
Right. They're either right. They know all we can teach them by now.
Something about our mission has inherently been failing for years.
There is no mission.
This is unwinnable.
Right. Like, what were we there for? Shoot people who were shooting at us. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I knew. If they shoot at you, they're bad guys. Shoot them.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about, oh, you know, we were there protecting American liberty. What is every guy? You get on the fucking ground, but the only thing you give a shit about, your boys, your dudes.
Yeah.
And it simply becomes a game of survival. Like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure myself and my boys all get back. There's no politics. There's no mission. You don't know these people you're killing. You just know that some of them are shooting at you.
Whether or not I kill X amount of people has no effect on my wife and my kids and my friends back home. Like, we're not defending anybody except the guy, you know, the guy who's here with me.
And look, that's the power of 9/11. I mean, we have this every time we think about justification for some use of force in the Middle East. We all think, where was I on 9/11 that Tuesday? You know, we all think about those towers and that attack, and that's just been, they've taken 9/11 and they've, you know, spread it across this entire loaf of bread. It's this tiny little sliver of justification, and they've, you know, we've used it as a blanket to just go to another people's country and just kill them.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
And say, oh, well, they have guns, so they're obviously, but well, yeah, we have guns here, bitch. Like, what would you do if you're cutting your grass and your neighbor gets lit up by some invading army, you know, like
from
oh, come on, yeah, that guy was bad. I'll show you where the other ones are too. I'll just
right. And as soon as he turns his back, you know, or puts his rifle down, you're gonna
smoke his ass.
I mean, you'd be completely right.
Because what? Why? Because you have a family. You have personal. You know, you have the things that make you a human to protect, that they are invading. And you know, if you flip the map around on Iraq and Afghanistan, it's really hard to justify. And look, I think that's something that our community we are working through slowly. But I find it really alarming and really chilling that we have such documented proof of just how much of a disaster. We can't even fully account for the total cost of Afghanistan. It's somewhere around 4 or 5 trillion at least. The Department of Defense has a budget. They have the Government Accountability Office cannot even audit the DoD's financials because they're a mess.
That's why all this fucking stupid veteran chest thumping just drives me crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a complete blind eye to what we've actually done and why we actually
Why are we not looking honestly at this? Because look at what all of our tax dollars are going to. This Department of Defense that is just ruining people's lives as almost a matter of course. And I get it. All right. Yes, there is national defense. There are things that you need a big stick for, especially in the nuclear age. I'm not so naive, but I mean, if you talk to most veterans, or at least a lot of veterans you see on the internet and in the social media spheres, it's a lot of chest pumping. It's a lot of let's just fucking kill them because liberty, because freedom, and while you're at it, buy this shirt and brew this coffee. Like what a shallow, meaningless. That's you're ignoring all the most important things. That guess what? As a veteran, you have a very unique platform to speak from on. You're wasting it for some notoriety. Maybe we're doing the same thing. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it hurts to watch. Like these fucking guys, like they try and qualify, their chest thumping with I lost a friend over there or whatever. It's like so. I my buddy died for your right to fucking be an asshole or to burn a flag or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they're beating their fucking chest over. Nobody ever asks them how. How did him dying over there ensure my right to anything? You know what I mean? Like, there's this disconnect.
Because you can't I mean, you're disrespecting the dead. You want to see that guy triggered. Say that.
But that, to me, that's indicative of
right.
Like you're so disconnected from the truth, and you need to be because you can't face it. How does your friend dying or you fucking fighting? How did that do anything for anybody in America?
At least in the last 2 wars that we've been a part. I mean, it's just really hard to make that argument. It's because it's not there.
Right. If your friend was alive, would I not have this right?
Yeah, and look, I mean, that's the hard, cold, honest truth that we love to use those platitudes, and man, they make us feel really good, and they make us feel proud about our service, and that it wasn't all for nothing. But then we know that's not real. That's not real. That's bullshit, and it.
Of your wall, and you realize how thin it is. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And it's a shame too, because there are a lot of veterans in this country that are amazing people with talents and abilities and a leadership ability that they've been trained in them. That they're just by pretending that we were fighting the good fight for the last 15 years. You're I don't know. I just feel like you're doing a disservice to yourself and to the we need to pull all this shit out and put it on the table and figure out how we make sure this doesn't happen again.
You're a cog in this fucking machine. Like this, now we need more troops in Afghanistan. Like great. You're gonna fucking beat your chest and say, "Good, let's go kill some more." Like, right, except more of them are gonna die too. More of us are gonna die. More of them are gonna die. And so now you're gonna have however many more thousands of people saying, "I lost a friend, so you had the right to do whatever the fuck you happen to be doing." That pisses me off. And how? How did this ever ensure anything for anybody in America? Like, you're part of this thing that's sending more people to their death, and like you should stop that.
That's something to really, really think long and hard about.
Right. If the pain that you're feeling is, not worth, if it hurts you, you're putting it on other people. You're inflicting more people with the same pain, and
none of us bear, as much as we want to feel isolated, or much as you end up, you don't bear that pain alone. That event doesn't only just affect you. This This is such a fucking mess at this point that I find the idea of sending more people to Afghanistan absolute lunacy, and that even more that it's a 4-star fucking general. Like, you want to the guy that wrote that piece in the Gazette. This is a joke. This, either someone is telling him politically, like, hey, talk up Afghanistan because we might need to go back. Like, what? Where's the conversation? Where's the discussion? Where's the national debate on whether or not we should be doing this?
Yeah.
It's
right,
fucking
we don't
crazy.
Need more fucking people beating their fucking chest and saying, hell yeah.
To sell coffee.
I hope I'm in that wave. You know what I mean? Like, why, bitch? So you can just fucking go shoot some people who've never done it.
You either A, have no fucking idea what that means.
Right.
Or B, you're a goddamn sociopath.
Right.
Either way, I don't want anything to do with you. Right. Well, maybe the first one, you'll learn. But the second, that is not the natural response a human should have when facing the prospect of taking other human life that didn't come to you and do a personal offense to you. This isn't vengeance. I mean, people like to make it vengeance when their friends die, because then you really get to justify doing the devil's work, right? If you lose your friends, and this is all you put, I'm just filling up the bucket that you guys dumped out, you sons of bitches. But
yeah, right. You kicked in their door, came in their house, they killed your friends, and now
you're like, oh, it's on now.
Now I'm mad at you guys.
But that's again, painful, the stark truth. That's it. If you ask me, that's at least part of it. That you don't see that conversation being had a lot.
Right. To me, the role of the veteran is not to say, hell yeah, let's go kill some more. Because this fucking whatever torment you're in because you've shot people or you've lost your friend, you're inflicting that. People are gonna die on both sides. Your job as a veteran, as far as I'm concerned, is to say, fuck it, I've seen war. War is horrible.
Stop this.
Let's stop it. Right? Like, we need to talk. Like, there's no talking. Being on your chest is not talking. Like, let's fucking figure out if, one, what is victory? Two, like, who needs it? Like, why do we even want?
What are we protecting? Yeah. What are we getting out of this?
And what is it worth?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right.
I'm not. I could never beat my chest again and say, let's go fucking kill some motherfuckers. Like, I'm not interested. I don't want anybody I know to die, anybody I don't know to die.
Because why?
Right.
Why is there a need for them to die?
For freedoms? Question mark.
For this bullshit idea of freedoms. And kind of the start of this conversation for you and I, because we started having it about a month ago, was Chelsea Manning.
Yeah.
And Chelsea Manning gets her sentence commuted by Obama as one of the last things on his way out, and so she's getting out in May, and obviously the military hates her because she leaked confidential information that made it to the public. Now there's been no real, as far as I know, there's been no proof like connecting any of the things she leaked to actual Americans or coalition people, personnel, forces, whatever, being attacked. And some of the stuff she leaked was, U.S. forces smoking non-combatants. And the conversation in the veteran community was, that's war. And I say to this guy, yeah. And I say to him, like, look, that's only war because that's not your dad or your son or your daughter or your fucking brother. That's the only reason you get to completely, intellectually separate yourself from that event and say, that's war. Get bent, dude. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, you've never seen a fucking invading force in your backyard, like
that's
indiscriminately war. Fucking kicking in doors and shooting people, like, yeah, it's really easy for you to say when it affects you in, not in the slightest way.
Not in the least. You're gonna go buy your fucking McDonald's and go to work, or you're gonna go do whatever it is you were gonna do anyway. This might as well be happening in a dimension that doesn't exist to you.
You might as well be watching fucking Star Wars, watching stormtroopers get shot, and eating your fucking popcorn. Like, oh, that's war.
The fuck? That's a great.
Those are, these are real people, and they're really dying.
That's real blood, man.
Yeah, and whether or not you can see the blood, it's a fucking black and white monitor. Like it's real, you know. Like there's a fucking pool of blood over there.
I feel like people, especially in the military, and you see this more, I guess, maybe in the leadership or the officer ranks, but we love to like take this, you know, oh, I'm swirling my brandy or my scotch around, and we're talking high-minded tactics and what Clausewitz should have done, and we like to think about that in the military. And hey, there's a lot of fun, tactical, strategic conversations to have, and you can be gung-ho about that stuff. But I mean, you don't really hear a lot of the philosophical or the ethical conversations from our community as much. And I think that that's kind of what we're pushing here, because, and maybe it's difficult when you don't want to get to what the ethical or philosophical implications are of OEF and OIF. You know, because maybe they're really damning for you personally, for us. You know, and this is pure speculation, but you know, there's a lot of stuff being done talking about, you know, veteran suicide, and it's terrible if the numbers are as clean as they look, or you know, are presented as the 22 a day. There's some haze around that number, but part of that is like, hey, some of these people are just overcome with guilt, if you ask me. Because you come back and you're like, fuck, these people don't even know that we were over there just killing them for nothing. And that's shitty.
It's horrible. You come back and you feel like you should be shit on. You know, like you've done some shit. You've done some horrible, morally, it's not morally questionable. Like,
it's bad, reprehensible.
Right, whether or not you were the trigger puller, you were a fucking wheel on the bus that ran a bunch of people over. You know what I mean? Like, and now you come home and you're praised for it. You know, and
given a discount on Applebee's.
Right, and right, you get called a hero, you get called a fucking, you know, a patriot, whatever the fuck it is. You know, and people clap for you, and you don't feel like people should be clapping for you. You know, like if you only knew, you know, if you've only seen what I see,
yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't be clapping. It's horrible. You know,
and that's man, that
and to come home from that and to fucking beat your chest and say, hell yeah, we didn't kill enough.
You know? Yeah, like what? You're not thinking about this, man.
Right, either you're a fucking monster or you didn't see shit. You're trying to fucking impress me. You've got a complex for not having been one of the guys where, you know, that. Or you really need a detachment because you can't connect to like what you've actually done or what you've been a part of.
Yeah, I think there are people that actually come from the infantry, you know, that bump their chest. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, I charge them. My challenge to them is: are you thinking honestly about your service
and your actions? Like you personally, like what did you do? Like what happened because of your involvement in this? And,
right.
You know, is it good or bad, you know?
And have you made any kind of have you even attempted to make any kind of peace or to look at that without some kind of bullshit fucking ditty in the back of your head, you know, like let go of the nostalgia for 5 minutes and think about that.
Right. You drank the Kool-Aid and you won't drink anything else. You know? They were bad, so I shot them. I'm a hero. Man. Yeah, except
dude, yeah, man, we really went down the. We took the black pill for episode 3. Fuck blue or red. We're going down. Well, hey, maybe it's not the best entertainment in the world to listen to that conversation, but I'll tell you what, it should get your wheels turning, because essentially that's all of us at rtbmag.com. I mean, we're all trying to figure our service out. We're writing and producing content because, yeah, we think that veterans are underserved in that particular space. But at the same time, we're sharing some of these things with the world because, you know, we're admitting that, hey, we are the losing team coming back trying to figure out how that works in America and why the fuck we were in that fight in the first place, and what is our responsibility and role now.
Right.
As citizens again.
As a veteran, I'd like to know how I can best serve the future. You know, like the past is done. I did what I did.
Right.
Whatever happened. The present, you know, is it worth it to either like be reflective about what I've done and what I've been a part of, or is it more important to me to fucking beat my chest and get a free fucking blooming onion? But my as far as I understand my role, I would like my role to be to
pass the baton.
Right. To say this is what I've seen and this is what I know about war, and I didn't know this going in, and you may not know it now, but you need to know it before you do.
This is important.
Right. You as future Marines or future civilians thinking about joining the Marine Corps have no idea what it's about and why you're doing it, but you need to see something other than chest beating from veterans, from people who have been there, because that's war is a lot more than fucking high fiving and fucking
and Call of Duty.
Right, it's not. They're
and cool
not
gear.
They bleed all over you. You gotta wash it off and it stays. Anyway.
Yeah. It's the worst. It's the worst of all things.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna beat my chest and try. I'm not gonna sacrifice the future for the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're impressed with me or you call me a pussy. I'm not saying we didn't kill enough. I'm saying we killed too many.
Yeah.
And
on really, really questionable grounds. Well, all right. Let's table the ethics of Afghanistan. I mean, as we get ready to go back, we got an email from a Marine, active duty, currently in. He's on his second enlistment, so he's already re-enlisted once, and he's 2 years into his second 4-year contract. So he wrote us an email, and he wants to know whether or not he wants us to keep us anonymous, which we'll keep you. We'll get you in hot water, dog. We got you, dog. He wants to know whether or not he should push to the full 20. He's feeling the heat 6 years in with potentially 3 more contracts to sign, and he's got some kids, he's got a wife. He's like, on the one hand, it's scary to get out with a family and to not really know if you're gonna have an $80,000 a year job lined up and everything and healthcare for all the kids, blah blah blah. But at the same time, he's like, I'm tired of fucking humping. He's a grunt. Like he's tired of putting a pack on and walking for 15 miles. And especially now we're not, grunts aren't getting to do their job, which we just railed on for 30 minutes. But that actually, for the uninitiated or the green, that's like a moral negative, a morale negative. They want to get out. Grunts want to fight. Right? And when they're not fighting and they're just humping, it all seems pointless. So what do you think, Doc? Get in or stay out? Or what? Stay in or get out? What do you think this guy should do?
Well, I think he should get out.
Get the fuck out of there.
I think everybody should get out.
just hashtag boycott the military. Man, this is like, we're going to be on the Russia apologist media list real quick, I feel like, with all this anti-American. No, it's not. I know. I'm telling jokes, but
just saying, like, no matter how small of a cog you are in the machine,
you're still a cog in the machine.
You're in the machine, and what does that machine do?
Mostly just kills people.
It mostly kills people.
Yeah. Look, now I can't possibly. How the fuck am I going to tell this guy to stay in? Go. My thing is this, my time in the military, definitely, I look at it as mostly a positive. I mean, I think I choose to look at it as a positive and just I'm going to take the good things that it gave me and run with them. That it's got me into writing and making content is something I'm infinitely thankful for. But at the same time, like, people ask me about going in, I'm like, dude, why the fuck would you want to join the military right now? For what? Yeah. What are we defending? We're just basically being an empire, and you're just signing up to defend that.
Yeah, you're in an occupying force.
Yeah, man, we are. Yeah, and hey, that pays for college. What a great trade for you. But what a terrible trade for the rest of humanity.
Yeah. You're building your life at the expense of of your soul or something.
And if you think we're the only veterans that are wrestling, that's bullshit. Look at the White Donkey. Read the White Donkey. It's Terminal Lance, Max Uriarte, or whatever. I don't know. It's a tough last name to say, but you know, there's some stuff in that graphic novel that's like, fuck, that's hard to look at. Yeah, that's kind of damning of us. You know, we were over there kind of chasing our own sense of adventure in a lot of ways. I mean, I know that was part of what was in part of my thing. Like, oh my God, I get to go be the good guy, play with guns and jump from helicopters. You know, like just do all this crazy. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Right,
and
it's 19-year-old guy, you know, you're facing either going to college for another, you know, going to another 4 years of school,
yeah,
getting a job, or jumping out of helicopters with guns,
being wild.
Right, like
that's really appealing to a lot of people.
I can work at Target. I can go sit in a classroom for another 4 years. I can fucking jump out of helicopters and.
So yeah, I guess the ultimate advice is like, look, man, do what you got to do for your family. Like, I'm not going to tell you to do something that's going to put your family at risk. I think there's ways you can set yourself up. Maybe start a year or a year and a half before you go to transition out. But there are ways to make that process smooth, to put your ducks in a row. You're not going to find a friendlier country and a friendlier private sector than you are right now. Okay, I promise you that won't last forever. People are desperate to give veterans jobs, it would seem. So I don't do what's right for you, you know, but consider what our mission is as a military right now, as a defense behemoth. And consider, do you want to keep punching the time card for that effort? I don't know.
Listen to your conscience.
Yeah. I was like, man, this will be a good funny segment. Like, I imagine people will probably email us like funny questions. They want funny advice. They're like, yeah, you know, I gotta choose between. I've got $50. Do I get more booze or more hookers? You know, let's put on our thinking cap, Doc. You know? But this was this was a lot more serious than I was preparing
Get
for.
Get the chalkboard out. We got some bathroom.
God damn it. But thanks to him, and yeah, all you other Marines, you don't have to be a Marine. Be soldier, sailor, whatever. We'll tell you to get out. But no, send us an email on a question or some advice you need. We'll get you out of a tight spot, maybe, or maybe we'll make it worse. God knows.
Hey,
maybe we'll ruin your life.
Okay.
Hey, I'll run a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. Just say. This is for entertainment purposes only. So any actual things you take from this seriously, that's on you. That does it for episode 3, which I almost feel like it's a reboot of the show. It's felt like almost an episode 1 in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
For sure.
We got maybe a little heavy.
Oh, I know I do that.
I think we do that. But you know what? That's again. That's where the soft, creamy feeling is.
I mean, I think it needs to be said. You know?
I think you're right. And that's why we're here. I think it was a great show.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it. One more shout out. Again, listeners, viewers, watchers, whatever, audience. Blessed audience. Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on all the latest content coming out of rtbmag.com. Visit the website. I'm gonna make it better. I realize it sucks. All right. I'm working on it. But visit the site for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at rtbmag. And also on Facebook. We put a lot of our shit up on there too. Send us an email, rtbmag@gmail.com. And shit. I mean, I think that does it.
That's a wrap.
We will be back next week for episode 4 of the EAS Show, and you can expect to see us weekly, to hear from us weekly as we roll out this new show format. So I'm pumped about that. Mr. Cataldo, it's always a pleasure. And listeners, thanks again for checking in. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud. Tell your friends, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Bye.